Yo, welcome back guys. I'm ThaMies as always, and I'm dropping in with another battle. And I want to welcome you guys back to week 2 of Simisage Goes Bananas. And this week we actually have a similar team as we used last week, but there are some changes in it because I've got some feedback from a viewer, which is really nice. I always appreciate the fact that people take the time to not only watch the video but actually give me some feedback on the team, so thanks very much for that guys. I'm testing out those suggestions at the time I'm taking this battle, and I decided to go with a version of the team which isn't the final product, I'd say, but I was testing out this team against a fellow PokeTuber named Lukas, and he's also in the process of starting his channel, and I thought it would be nice to give him a shout out and perhaps feature a battle with him. So if you feel like and you want to help out someone who's starting up, which is always very difficult, feel free to leave a suggestion or a like on his videos. I'll leave a link to his channel in the description, and I'm very sure that he would appreciate it. So that's pretty much the reason why I'm using this battle for this week's upload, and I want to go over this team really quickly. There are some ones that haven't changed, so you pretty much know this Simisage set. It's the Life Orb and Nasty Plot, but the second one in this team is a new mon. It's a Big Mac. It's my Pelipper, and he's providing this team with a defog option, which I was kinda missing, so that's very nice. And also he uses Roost, which means that he can stay on the field a lot longer in some situations, which might help me out, and I decided to try this out. It was suggested to me by a viewer, and so far I've been using it with a lot of fun, and I'm really happy with this change to my team. Next up is a Spoon, which is the same as last week. Same goes for Roadrunner, and my cargo is also a new mon in this team. I decided to change it. The suggestion was based on the fact that this mon also gets a recover, which means he can stay on the battlefield a lot longer. And another nice thing about my cargo is that it's more specially defensive, as this team had pretty much only physical defensive mons so far. So I'm really happy with my cargo. I am still in the process of learning which hits he can and can take, so yeah, I'm making some mistakes with it lately, but yeah, it's a process. It's always weird to start off with a new team or a new mon which you haven't used before. It's something you have to get through, but yeah, I hope that in the future I'm gonna be a little bit better with this mon, and if I still like it, then I'm gonna use it, and if it doesn't feel right, then I might change it back. So I'm very curious what you guys think about the changes made to this team. If you feel like, then please leave a comment down below, and I would very much appreciate it. And last but not least on this team is my little samurai, which is Spawnyard, of course. And yeah, that's pretty much the team. So let's get into the battle against Lukas, which is both featuring teams that we are still working on, but I hope you guys enjoyed the battle nevertheless. I'm sure I did, and let's get into it. Alright, as mentioned before, we are facing Lukas, and he has a very nice team. He is still working on his team, just as I am working on my team, but looking at his team I see some leeway for my Simisage against his Regigigas and his Bear Tech with Focus Blast, and of course his Water type ain't safe for my Grass type attacks either, so I do see some leeway, but I have to be really careful of Flareon, which will take out my Simisage without any problem. I know that Luxray is usually carrying some kind of fire type attack, I think Fire Fan or something like that, and yeah, I have to be really careful. So I'm not sure if I get a lot done with Simisage, but we'll see. I do see some weaknesses against rocks, so I like to get them up, and this also is a test to see how good Mekargo will do. He is especially defensive, and I think that my opponent is physically offensive, so this is a bad matchup, but I am testing out how much damage he will do. I have to get those damage rolls in my head, and I decided to stay in, perhaps hoping he will overpredict or go for a shell smash, of course, and the fact is that he doesn't, so I lose my first mon hot stuff on the first turn, which is a big mistake. It's a really bad start, and yeah, I wish I didn't take that risk, but I guess we all have to learn, and it is a test match, so it doesn't really matter that much, and I did get some knowledge of it. Now he switches in Richie Gigas, and because he has to switch out, of course, and I go for a nasty plot, predicting that, which means I can go on for Focus Blast and take out my opponent with relative ease. Luckily I hit my Focus Blast, and at least this is a really good start for my bananas right here. Now he switches in his counter. I have to switch out here, and I have a very good switch in the form of Big Mac here. He goes for Detect, which is fine. I can simply stay in and go for a Scald. If I get the burn on this Bear Tech, it would be nice, but even if I don't, I feel that my Big Mac is pretty safe against it. Now my opponent goes for Hail, which is a good move, I guess, but my Big Mac is pretty good against this Bear Tech, so I'm not fearing him that much. He can go for an Icicle Crash, but he won't do over half, even with the Hail, and my leftovers and Roost means I can stall him out. So next few turns are gonna be a bit stally here, but I know that a Scald, if I get a good roll, will take him out, but I would like to take a few turns to get rid of this Hail before I do, so I won't have any problem with that later on. So yeah, I'm gonna spend some turns here. Also keep in mind that when I go for Roost, I actually lose my flying type for a turn, which means that the ice type attack my opponent goes for doesn't do as much as he would like to. That explains the difference between the first turn damage and the turns after it. So I can stall him out. I'm back up at 100%, and I have to stall out one more turn to get rid of the Hail. Now he can either go for another Hail, which means he will lose his Bear Tech, or he can simply die, which is nice. So at this time I have 2 mons down, and I'm predicting Luxray to come in here, but I guess he goes for different mon. Now I should switch out here, but I figured because I'm a defensive mon, I can take at least one Stone Edge and go for a Scald, trying to burn him. He might miss a Stone Edge, which would be great, but it turns out it doesn't. The thing is, I would really like this mon burned. Even if he goes for a Shell Smash later, it would be a major difference. And I do snag the burn here, so I'm quite lucky so far. And of course I'm not gonna lose my Big Mac like this. Predicting him to go for another Stone Edge, I switch in my Poniard, my little Samurai, and I get quite lucky here with him missing his turn. Now he might go for an Earthquake. I'm not really sure if he gets it, but I'm predicting that. Switch in my Big Mac once again, and he goes for a Cross Chop, which is also fine. I'm happy I get to stall some burn damage on him this way, and I decide to sack off my Big Mac at this point, which might have been a mistake, facing his Flareon later on, but I'll figure out a way around that. So I see my opponent is becoming really low, and a sucker punch at this range will take him out, which means I'm getting rid of one big threat to my team, and I'm quite happy with that. Now he brings in his best switch in, of course, in the form of Flareon, which is using the balloon. I decided to sack my Simisage here. The reason behind that is quite simple. Bananas ain't going to do that much against his team later on, and all the other mons are quite useful. Kadabra has the Focus Sash, which means he gets one strong hit off at least, and I like my priority in the form of Dodrio with a quick attack, and also my Pawniard with Sucker Punch might be very useful against the remainder of his team. So I decided to switch off Bananas, which is a sack off Bananas rather, because he's the least useful member of this team at this point. So it goes down, and my opponent does take quite some damage from it, which is really nice. And I bring in my Roadrunner. This is my Bandit Dodrio, which does a lot of damage. It goes for return because against Luxray will do most damage, and if I get stuck in a move like Brave Bird, I would take recoil, and also Luxray would be able to live it. So thinking long term here, I'm going for this return, which is also stab, which is really nice. The normal typing on Dodrio in this case, and he goes into his last mon, which is Hypno. I'm not fearing Hypno at this point. I have two very good counters against it, and he goes for Hypnosis, which is fine. Means I have to switch out here, and I switch in Kadabra, which will be able to take any hit he goes for at this point. He goes for a Calm Mind, but it would be futile at this point because I can go for a Signal Beam, take him out, and that will be game. So Lukas, thanks for the game. It was really fun to play you. Also, I learned a lot about this team. I'm not really sure if I should keep on using Macargo here. So if you're watching this, or anybody else watching this, let me know what you think of the changes I made to this team. I would really like to hear them. And with that, I'm going to get out of here, guys. So see ya.